Hey, what's going on, guys? DK. Back at you with another video here to rate the 9-game NBA main slate on Wednesday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. Thursday Night Football show on slate. I'll have a video up after this, so be on the lookout for that one, guys. If you're unable to watch these videos, I also upload on Apple Podcasts. Link is down below. It is called the DK DFS Show. And if you're interested in signing up for premium content, now is the perfect time, start of the month. I offer a few different packages on patreon.com, NFL and NBA. We cover the main slate and the showdown slate for each of those sports. The sponsor of the video is Thrive Fantasy. So Thrive Fantasy is a player prop site where you can build out lineups and enter them into contests. So the big contest they have here is a $20 entry fee, $1,500 to first. So basically, there's 20 player props, and you pick 10 of those 20 options. The less probable the prop is to occur, the more points you receive if you choose correctly. So it kind of adds some game theory into it, right? So, for example, CLINT CAPELA, 13.5 rebounds. The under is more likely to hit, so you only get 90 points if it does hit. The over less likely to hit, but if it goes over, you get more points. So, yeah, these are the 20 player props. They have, mix and matches. Some are just rebounds, some are just assists, some are points, rebounds, and assists. So, yeah, if you guys want to try out Thrive Fantasy, make sure to sign up and use my code. It is DKDFS. It's DKDFS, all one word, and you will get a 100% match up to $100. And finally, as always, I want to thank you guys for all of your support, watching the video, coming in and checking out the live stream. We had about 200 concurrent viewers in the live stream today, so really appreciate each and every one of you guys. Make sure if you do enjoy, just to hit the like button. Let's try to aim for 100 on this one, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And as always, I will be doing a YouTube live stream before lock, answer any questions, so make sure to check out the live stream tomorrow, guys. Okay, so before we get into players and the prices for this 9-game slate, let's look back lineup here from tonight. Russell Westbrook. Interesting. Kind of an interesting performance from him, I'll say. Nice first quarter. He had negative 1.5 fantasy points. That's always good to see. No LeBron James. Great spot. If you just look at his game log, this guy's been going for, almost 50 plus every single night. A lot of those games with LeBron in. So you figure, LeBron James out, great matchup. Westbrook looks really good. Negative 1.5 at the end of the first quarter. He had like one fancy point at halftime. Something like. I think he's trolling us. There's just no way he's serious tonight. That's what I asked on Twitter. It's like, is Russell Westbrook serious? There's no way he's serious. No way. I use the chalk Portland guys and CJ Simons and Nurkic, all doing good. See, Nicholas Nurse. See Mikhailuk in the games that Gary Trent has missed, been averaging like 35 minutes a game. Thinking we're going to get mid-30s minutes from C. Got to give Malachi Flynn and Yuta Gotnabe more minutes. See Mikhailuk, we all think he's going to play 35 minutes, and that's why he was a good value. 17 minutes. 17. I used James Johnson as a low-owned value piece. I just needed someone super, super cheap. He was okay, I guess. I ended up using Dennis Smith Jr. here just because, I was more open to DSJ once we got news LeBron was out because I wanted to jam in those Lakers guys. And apparently that was a mistake without LeBron James. Apparently he just wanted to avoid them all. And if this Portland games blows out, that would just be the cherry on top of tonight. So, yeah, forgettable night. We'll see. Maybe the Pistons can bring it back, and maybe we can get – hey, how about we get triple overtime again from the Lakers and Kings, right? Because when I fully fade the game, that game goes to triple overtime, so chalk Buddy Hield can get there. Can I get triple overtime now with Westbrook so you can maybe get value? Winning lineup right now in the Rainmaker. This is a $3,000 entry. Low-owned James Harden. He smashed Simons, Burks. So it was frustrating because I was really high on Burks if Those Knicks guys are going to be out. RJ Barrett, everyone ends up playing, and then RJ Barrett leaves a couple minutes in the game with the illness. It's like just so annoying because I would have played Burks if Barrett was out. Burks smashed. Yeah, he used Met too, who became a good value once we knew that BAZLEY was out 8-2. So he had a pretty low owned lineup. Like ownership, a lot of busts, right? Westbrook Davis, pretty popular. Achua was 50%. He was a massive bust. THT, 60%, massive bust. Let's see, what else? Again, talking about THT. Nance was pretty popular, huge bust. Steph Curry, I guess Westbrook's doing better than Steph Curry. 14 fancy points for Steph Curry. Svi Mikhailuk, again, 62% owned. Because we were all expecting 35 minutes. So Booker got injured. That's not great for my best ball without John Morant. So that is it for the look back, guys. Hope you had a better night. Hope you avoided some of these busts. But wow, what a slate. Westbrook, man. Just, yeah. All right, Minnesota, Washington. So we got a couple pieces of news to keep an eye on. Big one is Anthony Edwards. He is currently questionable. We also have Vanderbilt and McDaniels questionable. Now, Vanderbilt played the last game. Never mind. He got scratched. Sorry. He was originally going to play and then got scratched. So if Anthony Edwards misses, then I do like Cat and D'Lo a good amount here because then the usage does go way up. So I'll start with Cat at 9.5. I'm not scared of the Wizards big men defensively, Gafford or Harrell. Like he should be able to feast. So I do have some mention in for GPPs. Would look a lot better if Ant-Man is out. And then D'Lo has been playing out of his mind recently. He should play mid-30s minutes in competitive game. Almost had a triple-double last game. So again, D'Lo and Cat, if Ant-Man's out, look pretty good. If Vanderbilt and McDaniels are out too, then there's going to be some value. Malik Beasley probably pushes for 30 minutes. He's reliant on the scoring, though. Naz Reid played some alongside Cat. That was good to see. He's like a good point per minute guy, so I would kind of like Naz Reid. Taurean Prince will play minutes, but he's super low usage. Josh Okogie at 3K played 33 minutes. I guess he's fine, assuming he starts again. It's Josh Okogie, though. Like, I'm not going to be excited about playing him. Whatever Leandro Balmara is, whatever that is, has gotten some minutes. Yeah, going to be a pretty gross rotation if all those questionable guys are out. Moving on to Washington, just not much here. Beal at 9K still feels overpriced a bit with Dinwiddie when Dinwiddie plays. Harrell and Gafford are splitting the center minutes. The price is coming down on Harrell, but the minutes have also come down. Gafford's 4.8, price is coming up, but again, he's prone to foul trouble, so I don't know if I want to deal with that headache on a 9-game slate. KCP, you can always use him. He'll play 25 to 30 minutes, but he's kind of score independent, so he still has a low floor. Not much on the Washington side. Moving on to Atlanta, so Trae Young at the top, 9.8K. Good tournament play. Never a guy I look to for cash games. Is a low floor, but the ceiling is there, especially against the Pacers. CLINT CAPELA, I like him in a spot. I think he plays mid-30s minutes. He should be able to have his way if Myles Turner is out. He should be able to clean the glass. He had 22 rebounds last game against the Knicks, so I do like CAPELA. Even at the price, he would look better if Myles Turner is out. John Collins at 6'9", feels a little bit too cheap. I think if he stays out of foul trouble, he plays mid-30s minutes. So the top three guys for Atlanta look pretty good. Now we have Bogdanovich out, Hunter's out, Reddish is questionable. So I think Kevin Huerter is going to play all the minutes he can handle. He's been bad last couple games, but he's cheap. So I do like some Kevin Huerter for value. And then it's going to be interesting to see who they start for Bogdanovich. Does Gallinari move in the starting lineup maybe at 4-2? My guess is usually when they're pretty thin, they just start Solomon Hill. He'll probably get some minutes. I think they dust off DeLon Wright for some run. So, yeah, if Cam Reddish gets ruled out, there would be some potential value. Now, if Cam Reddish plays 3.4K and there's no limitations, I kind of like him at this price. I think he would probably play mid-20s minutes. On the Pacer side, really depends on Myles Turner. Myles Turner is questionable with an illness. If he can't go, it makes Sabonis a pretty good option because when he plays the 5, the upside goes way up. You see that stat line? 16 points, 25 rebounds, and 10 assists for Sabonis GOAT. That's what I'm talking about. So Myles Turner, wouldn't mind if he has sit a few more games so my boy can keep smashing. But yeah, Sabonis, keep an eye on Myles Turner news. That is pretty big. If Myles Turner plays and Sabonis is just a secondary option, I think Brogdon still is a little bit too cheap. He's just playing close to 40 minutes in a competitive game. So I do like some Brogdon at 7.7 either way. Again, Myles Turner 5.9. Keep an eye on the status. If he plays, you could always use him for tournaments. If he misses, it would be a pretty big boost to Sabonis. LeVert was chalk. I was fine getting off that. He's been kind of scoring dependent this year. Like, he's playable at 5'4". McConnell started last game for Miles Turner. If Turner can't go and McConnell starts again, I think he's an interesting value. Played only 4.4K. And then even Duarte off the bench at 4K, I think makes some sense too. So Miles Turner is pretty significant for a lot of guys. Like, Sabonis would look a lot better. McConnell, Duarte get more minutes most likely. Denver, Orlando. So Jokic, I do like a good amount here at the top. He should just be able to have his way against this Orlando front court. Played 33 minutes, no real limitations in Jokic. Like him a good amount. Not much else I love in this team. I'll mention a couple of value plays, though. Campazzo, Bones Hyland off the bench. They're getting decent minutes. Campazzo's been getting like mid-20s minutes. He's only 3.9K. And then Bones Hyland in his first game back, he played 21 minutes. So these two, I think, are decent value plays. They're super cheap, and I expect, low 20s minutes for both. On the Orlando side, so Suggs is out, but now we have Cole Anthony coming back. If the Magic are going to keep this game competitive, probably because of Cole Anthony. So I do have some interest, assuming there's no limitations. Bamba against Jokic, you can use him for tournaments. I'm a little bit worried about the foul trouble. Carter Jr. and Wagner are both fine at their respective price points, but Denver's been playing pretty slow this year. I don't know if I get to any of the value options on Orlando. Like, Gary Harris is 3.7. He's played over 30 minutes last couple games. I guess he's playable. I never get excited about playing Gary Harris, though. Terrence Ross probably gets mid-20s minutes on the bench. He's just a black hole. It's going to shoot the ball whenever he's out there. All right, Philadelphia and Boston. Not a ton I love on the Philadelphia side. Embiid at 10.7 feels a little bit overpriced for the way he's been playing this year. And everyone else with Embiid back kind of just priced right. Like, Tobias at 8K feels right. Maxey at 7K feels right. He'll play big minutes, but doesn't really stand out. The value, not really interesting with Danny Green now back. Like, they have a lot of guys they're going to use. So Philadelphia as a whole, not super excited. And it's kind of the same with Boston. Jaylen Brown, once again, questionable. I think he'll be good to go. They've been limiting his minutes to mid-20s. So no real interest in Brown. But with Brown playing, kind of takes Tatum out of play. You have Schroeder and Robert Williams back. Not a lot I'm excited about. I will mention Enes Kanter has been playing more last few games, 18 and 22 minutes. This is a big front court against Philadelphia. But, what's his role going to be with Robert Williams back, right? Is he even going to play? So Kanter's a good point per minute guy. Let's just say this. If I knew Enes Kanter was going to play 20 minutes tomorrow, I would play him. But I don't know how many minutes he gets with Robert Williams back. All right, Cleveland and Miami. Tough matchup here for the Cavs. Not a ton I'm super interested in. Jarrett Allen's going to play big minutes, but 8-1 against the Heat feels right. Same with Darius Garland. The minutes will be there, but really, really tough matchup. Mobley at 6.5, I'll pass. Ruby off the bench is priced about right. Same with Markkanen. I guess Kevin Love looks okay at 4.5. I think he gets around 20 minutes. He'll be productive off the bench. But, yeah, another team as a whole that I'm not super excited about. On the Miami side, this is where things get interesting. All right, so we have Jimmy and Bam both questionable. That's pretty big. We have Hero probable, so I expect Hero to go. We also have Dwayne Dedmon questionable. So if Jimmy, Bam, and Dwayne Dedmon are all out, then Miami as a team looks really solid. Then Lowry, Hero both look really good at the top. And then this combination of value should get good minutes. Guys like Gabe Vincent, Struss, Caleb Martin, PJ Tucker will play big minutes, but it's PJ Tucker. And then, again, if both Bam and Dedmon are out, it's probably going to be Yurt Goat 7 or Udonis Haslem that picks up the start at the center spot against a big Cleveland front court. So potential value there. Yurt 7, the much better point per guy of the two. So could get interesting here for Miami. Now, if Jimmy and Bam are both in with Hero back, then, as a whole, they're all secondary options. No one really stands out for Miami. So really, really depends there on Jimmy and Bam. Charlotte and Milwaukee. So LaMelo Ball, 10.4K. I think is a decent spend up. I think he plays mid-30s minutes in competitive game. Gone for 50-plus last few games. A guy that can stuff the stat sheet. So, individual matchup will probably have Drew Holiday on him, which is not the best. But I still have some interest in LaMelo. The rest of the Hornets are more secondary options. Rozier has been shooting the ball really, really well. I'll let others chase that. 11 of 17. There's one game, the Houston game I kind of threw out the window, went to overtime. One of these games, he had a big game when LaMelo Ball got benched. So I think Terry Rozier probably be a little bit over-owned. Hayward at 6'3", I think is fine. Like, I think he plays low 30s minutes or so. I think he looks okay at that price. Oubre at 5'4", beginning some decent run off the bench, but the price has come up on him. I don't necessarily trust the minutes, but PJ Washington at 5'1", if he can stay out of foul trouble, I think he'll play majority at the center. They might start Nick Richards again, but he only played 7 minutes. Like, they ran a pretty tight rotation, the Hornets. McDaniels at 3.1K probably gets over 20 minutes. I think he's actually okay for salary relief with Cody Martin out. So, yeah, like, they're going to run a tight rotation here, right? LaMelo, Bridges, Rozier, Hayward, Oubre, Washington, Jalen McDaniels, and you might get a few minutes from Nick Richards. So, Charlotte as a whole, I think looks decent. LaMelo at the top, Hayward in the mid-range. Oubre, PJ look decent, as well as Gordon Hayward. So let's move on to Milwaukee. Love the spot here for the Bucks. Giannis above 12K, going to be a little bit hard to get to, but this is just a phenomenal matchup with the Hornets and keep it close. So I really do like Giannis at the top. Middleton more of a secondary play. I think Drew Holiday makes for a pretty safe play in the mid-range, and then we get low 30s minutes from him. Again, great spot, like I said. Bobby Portis at 6'8", been getting around 25 to 30 minutes. I think he looks okay. I love targeting bigs against the Charlotte front court. So like Portis and Giannis both look pretty solid. The value here for the Bucks, probably not for me. Connaughton, Grayson Allen, don't think I'm going to get to either in this spot. All right, Houston, OKC. So Houston, they both Wood and Kevin Porter Jr. back-to-back really big games. 60 bomb from Wood last 2 games. Again, this is a good matchup if you want for a 2020 game, and that game was a blowout. I think he plays mid-30s minutes in a competitive game. I like Christian Wood at 8'9". I think the price might scare some people off. I still think he's firmly in play. And I like Kevin Porter Jr. at 7'4". With no Jalen Green, he's playing big minutes. Again, he did not shoot the ball well and still went for 50 fancy points. And because he's starting to stuff the stat sheet a lot more, so I still have interest in the top 2 guys there for Houston, Wood and KPJ. Jay Sean Tate at 5.4K. If he can stay out of foul trouble, I think we get over 30 minutes from him. I think he's a decent option there in the mid-range. Eric Gordon at 5'1", probably gets about 30 minutes, a little bit riskier because he's scoring dependent. Garrison Matthews has been getting some decent run. I think he gets around 30 minutes. He's kind of like a Svi Mikhailuk, pretty reliant on scoring, but like he's playable at a cheap price point. I don't know if I get to anyone off the bench for Houston. Like I always like playing Sengun. It's nice he has power forward eligibility. I think we get somewhere around 15 minutes for him. Will be productive, but yeah, more of a GPP option. Moving on to the Thunder. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 8.3K if they're going to keep the game competitive. Probably because of Shai. Now, the issue is he's more reliant on the scoring with Giddey in the lineup, so he becomes a little bit riskier. Josh Giddey himself at 6'6" just doesn't really stand out. Dort was really popular last game. He was a bust, but I think he plays over 30 minutes. I think he's, once again, an okay option. Darius Bazley at 4.8K has been really bad of late. The floor is low. Robinson Earl, well, you would have thought with Favors and Muscala out, who would have got more run. No. The Thunder dusted off Isaiah Roby and played him 27 minutes. So like I said, you just can't trust this Thunder rotation at all. Where's Roby? He's 3'4". He played 27 minutes. If Muscala's out again, sure, you can consider him, but like I just have no confidence in the secondary rotation here for the Thunder. Kind of like the same thing I said about the Nets. I just have no faith in the minutes. Moving on to Dallas, Porzingis is questionable. He left the game against the Cavs on last night, I guess. So I don't think he plays. Luka Doncic doesn't really get a usage bump, but he'll probably get a good amount of ownership at the top. I do like the matchup for him against the Pelicans, so a decent spot for sure for Luka. But again, he doesn't really get a massive bump with Porzingis out of the lineup. I would think Brunson gets a lot more run with Porzingis out. He only played 22 minutes last game. It was really bad, 6 fancy points, but I think that will keep the ownership low. I like the price there at 5K. Hardaway Jr. we know what his deal. He's going to play probably mid-30s minutes and shoot the ball a ton, but he's still reliant on the scoring. Now, where it gets interesting here is the bigs if Porzingis is out. I would think Kleber's probably the guy I feel the best about 4-3. I would think we probably get around 30 minutes from him, so like him for value. A center rotation, just good luck. All I'm going to say is good luck with what Jason Kidd is doing in this rotation. Moses Brown, Dwight Powell, Cauley Stein. Cauley Stein's out. They can dust off Boban, give him some minutes. I just have no idea what they're going to do. They started Moses Brown last game. He played 11 minutes. Dwight Powell played 8 minutes. I think even Boban saw some run. Yeah, he saw 8 minutes. I mean, Boban's the one that is the most interesting if I knew he was going to get minutes because he's so productive. But I have no idea what he's going to do with this rotation. Let's move on to the Pelicans. So, my boy, 0.7%, Jonas Valanciunas. And I talked about this a lot they just kept being involved in blowout, foul trouble. Well, we finally saw a competitive game, and he got pulled in the last couple of minutes because they ended up blowing out the Clippers. So he was on pace for about 34 minutes, a 70 bomb for Jonas. That's what I'm talking about. Again, last competitive game, we saw 38 minutes and a 50 bombs. I knew the ownership was going to be low because of game log watchers. There was a lot of good centers in that slate too, but I knew he's going to be super low owned. At 9.2, I love targeting bigs against Dallas. Now, the issue is the ownership probably jumps after the last game, but I still have interest in JV. I kind of like Brandon Ingram at 7.5 too for the amount of minutes he should play. Should play close to 40 minutes. And even Josh Hart, I think, is a relatively safe option, except when I play him. He seems to be pretty consistent with the peripheral stats. He's playing big minutes. So the top 3 guys look pretty good. Other than that, it's a little bit hard to say. Like NAW, I think, is playable off the bench. I think we get low to mid-20s minutes. Herbert Jones at 3.8K. I don't mind for salary relief. I think we get over 30 minutes from him. Not a high-usage guy, but he's super cheap. That's probably it for me. I don't think I get to anyone else on the Pelicans. All right, finishing up with the Kings and the Clippers. So De'Aaron Fox at almost 9K. More of a secondary option. I don't love the price there. Hield, Halliburton, again, don't really stand out. Barnes and Bagley both missed the game tonight. I don't expect them to play tomorrow. Rashawn Holmes at 5.8, I do kind of like it that we get around 30 minutes from him. He's an energy big. So I like the price there on Holmes. And I like the price on Metu, assuming Bagley, Barnes, and Harkless are out again. The game's still going on now, but Metu's on pace for I think 30 minutes. So he's a decent point per minute guy. And assuming all those guys are out again, I think he makes for a great value play. And even Terrence Davis, we'll see how many minutes he plays tonight just because it's going on. But he's a guy that is, a good scorer, so I have some interest there. A little bit of interest in Davion Mitchell off the bench too. So the Kings as a whole look decent, especially if Barnes, Bagley, and Harkless are out. And finally, the Clippers. So Paul George has really been disappointing of late. Under 50 fantasy points for the last 2 weeks now. Last game he won over 50 was the 16th. Now, the matchup is pretty solid here against the Kings. So I think the ownership will be low if you want to try to buy low on a guy like Paul George. The rest of the Clippers, this team just tilts me. Reggie and Bledsoe are both playable. Reggie probably has more upside, but he's kind of reliant on the scoring. Bledsoe at 4.9 has just been really bad this season, but he'll probably get 30 minutes. Ivica Zubac just got destroyed by Jonas Valanciunas last game, so he only played 18 minutes. Minutes are trending down on him a bit. That's a little bit worrisome. This combination of Mann, Kennard, Marcus Morris all look pretty similar to me. They're secondary options. I will mention, though, Serge Ibaka played 26 minutes with Zubac struggling. And Ibaka's a good point per minute guy. Now, I have no real confidence in these minutes, but he's only 3.5K. So if you want to roll the dice in tournaments, you can. Again, I have really zero confidence in his minutes. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for the video. So if you have been enjoying the content, again, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And make sure to check out the live stream tomorrow, guys. Thanks again. Have a great night, and I'll see you all tomorrow.